Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 16 of Season 2 NNSCRA Marble Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marble Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Ford 400 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway as we are getting set for 41 laps of racing here at this mile-and-a-half racetrack. But before we look at the lineup, let's look at how the points look coming into the race tonight. Starting with the top 5 in points, Rafael O'Duke leads the points by only 9 points over Nelson Thornhill. Then third is Chris Michaels, fourth Anthony McCrory, fifth DJ Curtis. Sixth is Emmanuel Hartnett, seventh Seth Cole, eighth Dorian Facepuncher, ninth Grayson Acevedo, and then 10th is last week's winner David Rivera. The rest of the top 20 is Nathaniel Reed, Austin LaPlante, Charles Sanford, James Qualls, Trent Dunham, JT Bryant, Dylan Thoreau, Joshua Sekuli, Kev Shearer, and Jesse King. With that said, let's look at the lineup. Starting in the last row are two Hendrick Motorsports teammates, Matt McIntyre and Nathaniel Reed. Starting in the top 10, Cole Deaver on the pole for the race. Starting next to him is Chris Michaels. Row 2 is David Rivera, Benjamin Miles. Row 3, Nelson Thornhill, Jesse King. Row 4, Austin LaPlante and Johnny Gardner. And then row 5, PJ Williams and Matt Haas. So with that said, let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Ford 400 at Homestead.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting set for our one pace lap around this racetrack before we take the green flag. Now, one of the tricky things about this racetrack when it comes to green flag racing, if we run into green flag pit stops, the access road coming into pit road, they'll be coming in at full speed, and people wonder what would happen if multiple cars tried to do that. Would they end up running into each other? It all depends on how these drivers manage themselves, trying to get slowed up in time to get on the pit road via the access road on entry. Exit will be a little bit of a different story since they'll be pretty slow coming out access road to come off of turn 2 onto the racetrack. But pit stops will be a big factor if this race is going to be green flagged the whole way through, especially whenever we get to about lap 27 to lap 30 time. If it's green flagged the whole way through, we could be in for some strategy if that's the case, but you never know what may happen at these particular racetracks as the pace car pulls in the pit road, which means it is time for us to get this party started. And boogity, 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 let's go racing. And wow, we had saw a great battle 3 wide going into turn 2, and Benjamin Miles made it work and leads lap number 1. But now here comes PJ Williams in the 18 car underneath for the spot now, and he might get it. James Qualls right there on his tail as well, and Williams' teammate Joshua Sekuli is up here as well. And PJ Williams will lead that lap, so that's 1 bonus point for him leading a lap. And look at Dylan Young. So Dylan Young is one driver to be on the watch for to potentially get a win this season, because after a very good run last week at Sonoma, he finally got back into the top 30 in points. So we shall see how he does here tonight, as he is actually challenging for the lead over James Qualls. And he takes the spot. But look who's coming in hot. Both of the Richard Petty Motorsports Brits. Sean Galligan in the 44, Joshua Collard in the 43. Anthony McCurry's already up here in the top 5, just under 5 laps into the race. And I believe he started around 27th, 28th-ish, and now he's up here in the top 10. But now there goes Tim Fiegel in the 8. And look at the speeds they're going, too. Not using brakes, hardly, just playing with the gas. So it seems like the rules package for a lot of these races has changed to the point where certain tracks, they don't really have to use brakes. They can just run it wide open for the most part in order to get around this racetrack, which may be a good thing in terms of getting some great racing, but in terms of safety, it's quite dangerous. Case in point, back when we ran Dodge Motordrome earlier this season, they were going over 170 miles an hour on a half-mile track and didn't use brakes hardly. But anyways, Dylan Young still leading the way. Johnny Gardner in the 15 is now up here, and then you got rookie Mark Lane in 3rd. Nathaniel Reed, who climbed up to 11th in points, he's now up here in the top 5. Matt Haas, who fell out of the top 30 after last week at Sonoma, made it in via knockout qualifying, and now he's up in the 5th spot. Oh, but we may have a battle on the lead for the lead on our hands. Here comes Gardner with a run to the inside of D. Young. And also here comes Nathaniel Reed in that 88 GM Goodwrench Service Plus Chevy. And it looked like Gardner led the lap and now is going to try and hold off a charging Nathaniel Reed. Although Reed's going to get a big run going into turn 3 potentially, let's see. But now Matt Haas is going to break up that party and now he's going to run for 2nd. Bunch of the top 5 drivers in points starting to work their way up here. Chris Michaels is now in the picture. Dorian Facepuncher, who's in the top 10 in points, is up here. Same with David Rivera. And now let's actually check and see where the other guys in the top 5 in the points are currently scored. Let's start with 2nd in points, Nelson Thornhill. Ooh, way back in the 34th spot last time scored. But this time he's up to 26 now. What about the points leader, Rafael LeDuc? Oh, he's way back there and dead last right at the moment. But there's still plenty of time for things to happen as he's still up here with everyone on track. But anyways, back up here at the front, Chris Michaels actually now has the lead. Took it over from Dylan Young. And now here comes Michaels' teammate David Rivera to try and make it a 1-2 for Roush Racing, despite their teammate Rafael LeDuc running in the very back at the moment. Oh man, Benjamin Miles pulling off the same move he did on lap 1. Underneath 3 wide to gain a ton of positions. And whoa, Dylan Young and David Rivera about caused a big crash, but they save it. So great driving on the part of those two to keep a crash from ensuing. Meanwhile, 3 wide with Poteet up high and Rivera in the middle, but Charles Jackson in the 00 actually moving up along the field. As Benjamin Miles actually now takes the lead back. But here comes the 55 of Grayson Ace Veto with his teammate Jackson right there behind him. So very soon we could have a Michael Waltrip Racing 1-2 right now, and it is that way for the time being, as Ace Veto leads that lap. As we look around the field to see how things are shaking out, or shaking up to being. And plenty of action going on around the track, double to 3 wide racing. Grayson Ace Veto leads, but here comes Dylan Young again. Man, D. Young's been up here in the mix of things pretty much ever since the drop of the green flag. And now he has the lead, but here comes Mr. Mayonnaise, Charles Jackson. Charles Jackson in the Aaron's Mayonnaise machine for Michael Waltrip Racing in the Dodge Dart, and now he takes the lead. Johnny Gardner's back up here. Same with Matt Haas, as a lot of guys who were up here earlier that fell back a little bit are coming back up through the field. As we look around, Rafael LeDuc trying to make some progress to get back up to the lead. While Jackson led that lap, I don't think he's going to lead it this time. In fact, Matt Haas led that lap by 1/100th of a second, and now Grayson Acevedo back up to the lead. But here comes a couple of Sega Motorsports cars. You got Tim Fiegel and now Reed Wilden. Reed Wilden going to make it 3 wide for the lead. James Qualls back up here into the picture again. Same with Nathaniel Reed. Dylan Thoreau's up here. Anthony McCurry's trying to get in there. A lot of fighting going on for track position, as now Nathaniel Reed trying to take the lead over from James Qualls, but that may be interrupted because here comes Dylan Thoreau with a run. So far we've been clean and green this entire event, and this has been a really good race. And now Dylan Young back up to the lead, and here comes his Young Motorsports teammate Dorian Facepuncher up here. And Dorian Facepuncher is trying to rebound after he had after he's had a rough couple of races. Fell back to 8th in points, but now he's running up here in the top 5, hoping to get back into the top 5 in points. Johnny Gardner running strong in the 3rd spot, and here comes Jessica Shelton, who we haven't talked about all night. She's up here in the top 5. A couple of Roush teammates fighting. David Rivera is going to take the 5th spot away from Chris Michaels, as 2nd in points Nelson Thornhill's back up here. I don't know if this is the first time that Nelson Thornhill's run into Coors Light car or not, but if it is the first time, then it's really coming to life for him. And Rivera making it 3 wide for the 3rd spot underneath Sheldon and Gardner. It's going to be close up the line between Sheldon and Rivera, who got the spot. It was Sheldon at the time, but now Rivera goes to the point. As right now it's a Young Motorsports 1-2 right now. Dylan Young and Dorian Facepuncher. Let's actually see where the other 3 drivers of that team are running. First, Kev Shearer. Ooh, way back in 41st with LeDuc still back there, not really able to gain much ground. And then JT Bryan not too far ahead in 40th. And then Chris Dollerton not too far ahead in 35th. But back here up at the front, D. Young and Facepuncher still lead over everyone, but here comes Grayson Acevedo up to 3rd in that 55 Mountain Dew Dodge Dart. As we are past the halfway point, actually we are 17 laps away from the end of the race. Facepuncher may be thinking about going for a move on his teammate. Maybe not, as also back here 3 wide for 3rd, Anthony McCurry's going to take the spot over. As Grayson Acevedo is going to lose a couple of positions as a result of running that high lane. Charles Jackson trying to follow to his teammate Grayson Acevedo for position. As meanwhile, D. Young and Dorian Facepuncher still lead the way. Facepuncher, he might be trying to think about making the move, but he's just not really able to make it stick, or he's waiting for the right moment, but he better try and go soon because McCrory's coming up to him pretty quickly. But we are getting close to that time where we are expecting green flag pit stops to take place. Let's actually look around to see if anybody's pulled down or not, and nobody has yet. And now it's go time for Facepunchers. Facepuncher's got the run on the inside of his teammate, and he's going to get the position. So Dorian Facepuncher says it's go time, and now he's up to the lead. As like I said, we are getting close to the point of green flag pit stops very, very soon. Nobody's pulled down yet. Face Puncher leads that lap, but it's going to be 3 wide with Matt Haas, David Rivera. Well, Haas still got a nose there. He's going to make it try to stick. And now Matt Haas with the run underneath David Rivera for position. Nathaniel Reed's going to have a run too. 3 wide for the lead once again. It doesn't look like anybody's pulled in the pit road still yet, but they are getting very, very close to that point. As it's now 12 laps to go in the race. Nathaniel Reed led the lap, and now here comes Chris Michaels with the run to the inside. Dylan Young back up here in third, or at least battling for third. Charles Jackson trying to stick his nose underneath. And still no takers to pit road yet. Chris Michaels going to lead that lap, but here comes Dylan Young once again to battle for the lead. D-Young has just been the strongest car of the race. He has led the most laps, to my knowledge. And now he's back up here to the lead as Rivera and Michaels, 2 teammates going at it. And Rivera's going to take the spot. Oh, we're going to have some takers. Oh, very close, but actually they didn't even need to take the access road. They just came off of turn 4 to come in the pit road. Or in the middle of the corner, so they had a pretty safe entry. Face Puncher's in, Shear's in, but now the lead is handed over to Matt McIntyre. But his teammate Nathaniel Reed going to try and battle him again, but now Reed and McCrory. Oh, we just got a crash! Matt McIntyre into the wall! James Qualls, Chris Michaels, Dougie Shears is all spun around. Caution flag is out for a 4-car mess involving one of the top 5 in points, Chris Michaels, Dougie Shears, James Qualls, and Matt McIntyre. Probably as a result of Matt McIntyre thinking too late to come in the pit road. I'm going to be curious to see what happened with that. Dylan Young got out of the pits first in that first group of cars that pitted. And then we got this second group that came in the pit road as the caution came out. So that we might have just had a screwed up field as a result of all that just took place. I don't know, it's going to be quite interesting to say the least. Tough break for Chris Michaels, who was trying to close in the gap for the points lead. Now his night may be over. Let's see if he's going to try and soldier on and continue the rest of the way. As we see him coming down pit road. He was actually scored as the leader at that time. Let's see what he's going to do. It looks like he's going to continue. He's going to make his pit stop. I don't think he's going to get the lead. Nor do I think he'll be up to speed as a result of what just happened. Let's actually get up to the pace car. But let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time tonight here at Homestead. Well, here's a look at what happened. Now, we're going to pull up the speed meter up at the top. Watch Matt McIntyre's speed here in just a second. Yeah, he's slowing down. He was thinking about trying to risk it and get in the pit road, but he had no idea the 17 of Chris Michaels was right there on his back bumper, and then right there was a hard hit from James Qualls into the 24, and then Dougie Shears piled into the 17. But yeah, let's just watch the drop in speed for the 24 up there on the top middle of your screen. He goes from 205 down to about 185, but you do not do that. You do not slow up to get in the pit road right in front of a driver that's right behind you. That was a big error on the part of the 24 of Matt McIntyre. He should have known that the 17 was right there on his back bumper, battling for the lead, and then he decides to maybe try and come to pit road and slowed up abruptly in front of the 17 who had no reaction time, and that started that whole mess. As after he hits the outside wall pretty hard, he gets hit hard by Qualls, and then right there Dougie Shears runs right into the back of the 17, and that actually blew his motor up. But the 17 of Chris Michaels got scored as the leader. I don't think he's going to get to keep the lead or not, but he's going to try and continue. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Homestead. Well, after that first caution, 3 cars out of the race, and they include Dougie Shears, James Qualls, and Matt McIntyre. Well, as a result of all that happened, the field got quite messed up to the point where the leader is around the middle of the pack, and that is Nathaniel Reed. So it'll be Nathaniel Reed in the lead, 2nd Anthony McCrory, 3rd Charles Jackson, 4th Jessica Sheldon, 5th Dylan Thoreau, 6th Tim Fiegel, 7th Johnny Gardner, 8th Charles Sanford, 9th is Emmanuel Hartnett, 10th Chris Dollarton. 11th is Cole Deaver, 12th Mark Lane, 13th Dylan Young, 14th David Rivera, 15th is Trent Dunham, 16th JT Bryant, 17th Matt Haas, 18th Joshua Collard, 19th Rafael LeDuc, 20th is Joshua Sekuli, 21st Nelson Thornhill, 22nd Sean Galligan, 23rd Preston Plore, 24th Dylan Poteet, and 25th is Chris Michaels. And then the rest of the field is Jesse King, DJ Curtis, PJ Williams, Austin LaPlante, Paul Minnick, Dorian Facepuncher, Oscar Anderson, Reed Rildon, Jonathan Zorleen, Andrew Rich, Seth Cole, Benjamin Miles, Grayson Acevedo, and Kev Shearer. It'll be 5 laps to go when we come to the line and the green flag is back out. Nathaniel Reed in the lead right behind a lot of cars. So this is going to be quite interesting, to say the very least. Reed has the spot for now, but McCrory is right there on his rear end. Who in turn has Charles Jackson to his rear end as well. Top 6 are all like in a train. And now it's going to be 3 wide for the spot. Here comes Jackson with a run underneath McCrory at least. Reed manages to get on through that, but Jessica Sheldon is right there on the back bumper of Jackson. And now Sheldon's going to get a run to the inside of the 00. Yes, she's going to get the run. Try and move the 02 up to 2nd, but now Dylan Thoreau and the 41's going to try and make some noise. Although Sheldon's going to slam the door on him for the time being. As back up here at the front, in front of them, Nathaniel Reed still leading, trying to hold off everyone as much as he can, but also try to get through lap traffic. As it's 2 laps to go for the rookie Nathaniel Reed, who, like I said, after last week, jumped up to 11th in points, and he only missed 1 race this season, and he's up to 11th in points. Dylan Thoreau gonna try and see if he can break that train, and he might. He's got to run to the inside. 4 wide underneath of 2 lap cars. White flag is out. Battle for the lead between the 88 and the 41. 4 wide with lap cars. Oh, this could be very messy if they're not careful, and they're still 4 wide. But Dylan Thoreau has that run with help from Jonathan Zorleen in the 5, and I think that just sealed the deal. Great last lap pass for the win. Coming to the checkered flag to get a 2nd win of the season. Dylan Thoreau wins the Ford 400 at Homestead. 2nd win of his Marvel Studios Cup career and 2nd win of the season. What a job by that 41. Made a great last lap pass for the win, and it pulled off, and it went well for him. Congrats to that 41 car. Well, let's look at the rest of the results. Nathaniel Reed, gotta give props to him. He came so close to winning this race, but he is the highest finishing rookie of the race, so he'll get the rookie of the race points. Very close to him was Cole Deaver in 92. He comes out with a great run in 3rd, and then another rookie with a great finish, Tim Fiegel in 4th, and Anthony McCrory, the highest of the top 5 in points to finish, in the 5th position. Charles Sanford with a great run in the 6th spot. Emmanuel Hartnett with a solid 7th. Great run in 8th for Chris Dollarton. Another rookie with a good finish, Charles Jackson in 9th, and then Jessica Sheldon with a great run in 10th. Rest of the top 20 was Johnny Gardner, Mark Lane, Dylan Young, David Rivera, Trent Dunham, Matt Haas, Joshua Collard, JT Bryan, Nelson Thornhill, and Rafael LeDuc. Rest of the cars that finished on the lead lap were Joshua Sekuli, Preston Blord, Dylan Poteet, Sean Galligan, Chris Michaels, Andrew Rich, Grayson Acevedo, Oscar Anderson, and Benjamin Miles. Everybody else that finished was a lap down or more, and they were Jonathan Zorline, Kev Shearer, PJ Williams, Jesse King, Austin LaPlante, Seth Cole, Reed Ralden, Paul Minnick, Dorian Facepuncher, DJ Curtis. And the only 3 cars out of the race after our only caution that came out were Dougie Shears, James Qualls, and Matt McIntyre. So that does it for our coverage here tonight here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and what was a really good race. Next week, we return to the track of the season opener, Daytona, for the Pepsi 400. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Daytona. This is Levi McIntyre.